You ever wish you had a simple, inexpensive looper that would allow you to say, I don't know, record a clean tone and then come back and do an overdub with a more distorted tone and then another overdub for your lead with a more distorted tone? Well, that's not really something that is easy to find, is it? Well, I might have a solution for you, depending on what amp you're using. Welcome back, I'm Tony. Yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at the XSonic Audio ULooper. Now this thing actually right now is on sale for only $79.99, down from $119, even at $119. That is a good price for a good looper. It's a little bit different though. This is not something that you plug your guitar into. You're actually going to plug your guitar into your amp, and then you're going to plug the ULooper into your USB on your amp. So therefore, you're going to need a different type of amp, right? Well, these amps are amps that many of us have. There's a whole list on their website of amps that it is currently compatible with, and if it's not on the list, they're going to try to get it on there. Now the up close and demo portion of this video might be a little bit longer, so I'm going to try to keep this part of it short. And please don't get triggered by my guitar playing. Look, I never said I'm the best guitarist in the world. I'm always trying to improve, and loopers are not something that I've used all my life. I've only used them in the last year or so, and I've been frustrated with them because every one that I've tried so far, you can't change tone from one overdub to the next. Which means if your whole jam is going to be in the same tone, great, but if not, you're out of luck. Unlike traditional loopers, ULooper connects to amps via USB, ensuring your looped sound remains unchanged even when changing your amp's tones and presets. Additionally, it adds a line out feature for your amp, enabling easy connections to external speakers without muting the amp's own speaker, unlike the headphone output, which does. So on most of these amps, like the Spark, the Katana, the Mustang, if you plug into the headphone jack for an external speaker, it mutes the speaker on the actual amp itself. With this, it eliminates that problem, and that's one of the things that a lot of people complained about with the Spark, although I think Spark may have updated their firmware to allow amps to do that, but here's a simple solution for you. You know, it would work with the Spark cab or any FR speaker. So big features with this looper: unaltered loop sound, uniquely preserves the original sound of your loops, unaffected by any changes to the amp's presets or tones, standard looper functions. It's got record, playback, unlimited overdubbing, and up to 180 minutes of recording time. Now, not all loopers can do unlimited overdubbing and 180 minutes of recording time, so that's pretty cool. Line out feature, as I told you about, portable power options. So this will support 5-volt USB, so you can plug in a power bank to it. So say you've got the Spark Mini, which is what I'm going to be using in this demo, along with my Kiesel Custom. Love this guitar, Misty. Anyways, so if you wanted to be completely portable, you could have your Spark Mini, you could have a little power bank, and your ULooper there on the ground, you'd be set to go. But it's also compatible with 9-volt adapters, so you can plug it in on your board. Has an expansion port, and that is currently inactive, but they plan a future update for external foot switches and analog connections. Firmware updates via USB, and they plan future updates to extend this to other amplifiers. Overall, it's pretty great. There's just a couple of small drawbacks that I'm going to tell you about here in just a second when we do the demo. So it's pretty simple. You've got your switch right here. You've got a knob right here. This right here is going to output to your cab, like an FR speaker, maybe the Spark cab. So if you wanted to have audio coming from your Spark amp and the cab, that is what you'll do. You just output from there. This right here is nothing right now. From what I understand, that's for a future firmware update. You've got a 5-volt USB-C right there. So you can use 9-volt if you've got it on a pedal board or something like that, or your 5-volt USB-C to power it. And what I've been doing is just using this little power bank right here, because I'm trying to keep everything as portable as possible using the Spark Mini. So we're just going to plug that in. We'll plug this in, and when we do, you'll see a little flash of green on there. That means that it is connected to power, and obviously that thing is lighting up. That right there is going to go to the amp. So we're going to go ahead and plug one into there. Now, depending on what amp you have, they have specific directions for the Katana and the Fender Mustang and things like that. But on this one, we're just going to plug it right into the back of the Spark Mini. And at this point, that power is passed through, so it's actually charging my Spark Mini battery right now. So we're going to turn on the Spark Mini. And that blue light comes on, and the blue light is an indicator that it is ready to go. The manual is online, and of course on their website they're going to list out all the amps that it works with, but this is a list of them right there. And then for each one of them, they give you diagrams on how to set it up and instructions on how to set it up for each one of those types of amps. Okay, so you can see that that light is blue. As soon as we hit the button, it is recording, and it's going to record until you tell it to stop. And when you do, it immediately starts playback of that loop. If you want to record an overdub, you just hit it again, and now it's recording that overdub. When you're done with that, hit it, and it's going to play back both of those loops. If you want to pause it, 2 clicks, which you might need to do if you're changing tone or something like that. Then you start it again, and if you want to overdub, now you're overdubbing again. And if you want to erase all of the loops, you'll pause it, push down the button, and hold it, and it comes back to blue, so it's cleared and you're back from the start. Of course, the volume control on here is for controlling the volume of the loop coming through your amp, and you can do that through that and the music as far as a Spark amp goes, the music control on the amp. So a couple small drawbacks with this. Well, one of them is kind of big because if I've been working on a loop and I want to delete the last overdub, I'd like to be able to easily do that, and you can't do that right now, but they say you're going to be able to do that with a future update. The other thing is, since you got to connect it with a USB cable, it's got to be either a very long USB cable or the amp has to be somewhat close, so I couldn't put the amp up or anything like that. So the amp is down here on the floor. So as I switch the different tones, because I don't have a foot switch for that, I'm going to have to go down to the amp. So, let's give you a practical example, okay? All right, so we'll start with a clean tone. Twice to pause it. Now I'm just going to go down here and we're going to get this tone right here, which is it's kind of a crunchy tone, but it's not quite the full-on in-your-face stuff. We're going to do... So since the green light is currently blinking, that means it's on pause. So we're going to get it playing again. Let it go through one. So 2 clicks on that to pause it once again. And the audio that you're getting right now is another one of these microphones sitting on the floor right in front of that amp. It's not all about the tone here. Just wanted to show you the demo. That wasn't exactly a perfect loop either, but let's go ahead and get this in here now. A much heavier tone. By the way, for this one, I'm going to go ahead, you're going to control your guitar sound, at least for the final one, for this lead, is going to be on the amp itself. All right, so music on the amp is going to be what's coming out of this, and guitar is going to be what's coming out of this. All right, so the light is flashing, so that means it's paused. So you don't have to pause it every time between your loops. You can just hit it again and it will start again, or it'll start recording again. So I'll give you an example of that with this. I'm not the best lead guitarist in the world, but let's do this. Well, that's a perfect example of now my loop is all jacked because I wasn't intending to record that lead over it. So let's do this. While it's blinking, all we have to do is hold down. And now we're back to blue. Let's see if I can do it one more time real quick without having to explain it all, okay? So let's see. Well, I have to pause it in between because I'm changing my tones. All right, so pausing it now because I am putting on that heavier tone, but I'm not going to be recording this now. I just want to play over the loop. So all I have to do is hit it once. But if I wanted to record the lead right now, I would just hit this again. I think you get the picture. All right, so there we go. That is how you create a loop on this. I'm not very elegant at it. I'm pretty decent at these things. Loops are something that I haven't done all my life, but it's something that I'm really enjoying doing. And this is definitely gonna make it a lot easier. So when I got this, I was thinking, well, maybe it'll work for my Fender Tone Master Pro or something like that. Well, it doesn't currently work for those, but if you've got something like that that you want it to work with, let them know. As long as it's got a USB-C on the back of it and it does input and output through that, you can probably get this thing to work with it, but I don't know. I do have a lot of Spark products though. The Spark 2, the Spark 40, and the Spark Mini all work great with this thing. Thought I'd show it to you on the Spark Mini because, you know, that's the most portable thing that I have. Like I said, in the past, I've tried using loopers. It's a little bit frustrating because I'm like, well, I don't know, everything gets muddied together, especially if you're using distortion and things like that. And this way, I can actually adjust the audio levels. I can actually record different tones if I want to. So it's a lot of fun, and for songwriting, it's really cool because if I'm sitting there and I get an idea, I'm like, oh, cool, hold on, let's get this thing going here. And I can flesh out an idea, a riff or something like that. Now, granted, listen, my playing is good. I'm an average guitar player. And that's probably because although I've played since I was a kid, I've gone complete like 1 year stretches without even playing at all. Now I'm really focusing on it, so I will get better at it. In particular, things like the looper. It's hard for me to improvise on the spot like that when I'm still trying to learn how to use a product, but this thing, man, it does make things a lot easier. It works great, and I have no complaints at all, except for those two little things. Perhaps they could give you a longer USB cable. Otherwise, your amp's got to be a little bit closer to it. And the fact that I can't delete my last overdub, because if I'm 3 layers into it and I mess up one of the layers, I'm like, dude, now I got to start all the way from the beginning. So they do say that they're going to fix that in a future update, so that'll be great. I've only tried it on Spark amps, but from what I understand, it works great on the Katanas, the Mustangs, and all the ones that they listed on their website. So if you've got one of these and you'd like to get a nice looper, right now is the best time because this thing is only, it's $80, $79.99. Even when it's not on sale, it's only 120 bucks, so that is not bad at all. Now, the fires in LA are horrendous. I did get an email yesterday from the president of NAMM that the NAMM convention will still be going on, and I feel for everybody out there in LA. But the NAMM convention is still going on, and I'll be going at the end of this month. Hopefully, I'll be able to see XSonic at this convention. I haven't really looked to see if they're there. Listen, I want to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. It's very humbling, and it means the world to me that you watch and comment and like the videos. As a matter of fact, if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and notification bell. Click both of those. You'll get notifications when I upload new videos. Well, I'm going to get on out of here. It's Friday, and that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.